Good morning. Hey, you guys, it's Dani. So, wait, let me get this microphone closer because y'all know this microphone is a piece of crap. Anyway, so I got a comment from Jaylee, I'll put it somewhere, that asked about re-interviewing a deck. And I thought this was such a great idea, especially because there are some times where I go through these bonding rituals and oh, I feel like I can hear myself. Okay, sorry. Had to fix my mic. Okay, so I thought this is such a great idea. So I grabbed my little tarot spread box. Look at this. She's coming off. Do I have any glue right here? I'm gonna have to glue that back. Anyway, I used the crap out of this thing. Anyway, let's see. I have a couple of but okay, here's an interview spread. But my idea is not just to do a deck interview spread, but to kind of look at the deck interview spreads I have and then maybe kind of create something that feels more like touching base, like touching back, versus like something new. Trying to see if I have any more. Okay. I guess I just have those two written down. I think I have some more in my grimoires, but like, it's not really that important. I just kind of want to see what we have here, and then I'm going to grab another whole thing, and we're going to create one. Scrap paper first. So, okay, let's talk about this a little bit differently. You know what I need? I need some more coffee. Let's get ourselves a coffee. Meet back here. We're going to create a new spread, and we're going to re-interview our deck. Then we'll pick. Okay. Touches the soul, man. Got pumpkin spice Nespresso. Ooh. With a little added cinnamon, a little whipped cream. Happy camper. Okay, so got my decks. I was thinking, what would be the best deck to use for like a re-interview, something that I've done a lot of stuff with and studied and yada yada. And I was thinking possibly something like the Druid Craft. I mean, like, I've used that so much. That's what I'm thinking potentially, but I'm about to dive into my tarot cabinet and see. So let's see. Okay. So yeah, I really think the Druid Craft is going to be our best bet because I feel like it's a known entity for the most part. And it's something that I've used. I've done basic interview spreads. I've done all this kind of stuff. So this would be a great time to re-interview. I'm going to be honest, I haven't used Druid Craft in a hot minute. I don't know if I even used it last year. I usually use it every fall, but I don't think I've used it in a while. Honest to God truth. So I think this would be perfect to kind of put it back in. It's September now. We're in the Burr months. I want to get that vibe anyway. Okay. So this one, as you can see, I've fully took all the borders off, all the words and everything. So this is my modified copy. I do have a one that has everything on it, but this is the one I use. So okay, so basically, a lot of times basic deck interview spreads, I'm kind of seeing what we have, introducing yourself, strengths, weaknesses, what can I learn, how to best work with you, where does your wisdom lie, again, we have strengths, this one talks about, like, what might you not see, okay. So, I think when re-interviewing. A lot of times, I guess the thing is like I've never re-interviewed, but I've like kind of reset and rebonded with the deck. So I kind of want to give those vibes, but in a way that you can kind of sit and do like a re-interview, right? So maybe a reintroduction. I like that idea. Reintroduce yourself. Okay. I kind of want to talk a little bit about, or like go into the energy of like how our energies align now, like they didn't before. So maybe an alignment, where are our energies aligned now? Aligned now. Where do they differ? Maybe how can we better repurpose our energy? Or how can we better how do I word that? Maybe how can we better work together? How can we work better together? Okay. One more. Maybe maybe best way to utilize. You. Okay. So here's what we got. Reintroduce yourself. Where are our energies aligned? Where do they differ? How can we better work together now? And the best way to utilize you. Let's kind of see how that works. We're trying. This is trial and error. I did go ahead and grab the big book. Just in case. I think that sometimes this is really helpful, especially when interviewing and getting to know a deck. I always like do my reading and then I go and check out the book. Is there anything that pops out to me? Things like that. So I did grab that to kind of utilize in the same way, to maybe reintroduce myself to concepts and things within the deck. So that's kind of how we're gonna start this out. All right. So let's go ahead and shuffle. And then we will pull our cards and talk about it. And then if you guys give it a try, you can let me know in the comments down there or tag me on social media or whatever. I would love to hear your thoughts as usual. I'll try to remember to maybe post it on my Instagram. A little copy or whatever of this. A copy of this spread. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yes, that's right. All right. What we got? What we got? What we got? These all in line. Put this over here, see if there's anything I want to change. All right. So, reintroduce yourself. We have the 9 of Pentacles. This definitely feels like kind of coming back home, where things are stable, where things feel safe and comfortable and complete. I feel like this is a great kind of show of the connection that I've had with the Druid Craft for quite a while. So if you want to reintroduce that same energy, it's like that feeling of accomplishment and confidence, of being grounded and just comfortable in where we are. So I love that. Okay, where are our energies aligned now? We have the Knight of Wands. We got that spirit, that fire, that forward momentum. Almost like you can tackle anything, right? The knight and his mighty steed. Where do they differ? We have the Emperor. This is quite interesting. And I love how, check this out, we have this red that flows through these two cards. Almost like aligned and different, but in the same vein. So I find this interesting. There's a lot of learning still in that knight. There's not that solidified energy, whereas the Emperor is quite solid, almost stubborn in certain ways. So I feel like maybe now my ideas, my outlook on life, my way of interpretation might not always align with this deck anymore, because it might feel too stagnant, too immovable, right? But I feel like in general, it's one of those things where it's like, almost like, oh, well, you can say whatever you want, but I'm going to interpret it in whatever way I want, right? Like there's a little bit of that pull there. So I feel like maybe there might be some imagery, some situations that might not quite align anymore, that might feel a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say it starts with an R. I want to say reprimanded. That's not the word I'm looking for. Oppressive, maybe. This Emperor feels quite oppressive to me. So I feel like there might be some things that I might need to kind of shake away or look at from a different perspective now, because those things won't be quite in alignment as maybe they were before, if that makes any sense. So then, how can we work better together? Justice. But I like how everything is represented right here. We have a spider, we have a feather, we have the owl, we have the sword, we have the scales. She's got her armor on, but she's also cloaked in velvet, right? There's a harshness, there's a softness. There are things all around to hold and support. And then when we think of justice and kind of balancing scales and kind of resetting, I feel like that's a really good way to interpret this. Like, how can we work better together? Literally by working together, by coming together, by leveling things back out, by talking, communicating, right? We have this owl, this kind of back and forth, this wisdom to be gained and to be given. There's just a lot of give and take in this justice card. And I feel like that might just be, again, looking at this from a different angle. Reinterpretation. Where things feel stagnant, can I loosen them a bit? Right? Can I sit with these cards and be like, well, this doesn't quite feel right, but how can I interpret this? Or how can I utilize this energy in a different way that might help me reconnect with this deck? And that's kind of what I feel like she is. She's like the duality here, you know? The armor and the softness, you know? Very grounded energy. She's literally got her feet on the rock. It's like coming to this almost like ready and willing. And then the last way, the best way to utilize you. We have our devil. When I grabbed the book because I don't remember what it's called. We have the devil. But in this, it's called Cernunos. I hope I pronounced that right. I always forget the names of some of these. I think everything else is the same. Oh, the Lord instead of the Emperor, but whatever. It's fine. So anyway, here we have essentially the devil, which I feel like tells me it would be really good to use this deck when talking about breaking cycles, when things are kind of in an upheaval, when there's a lot of temptation, when there's a lot of kind of locking yourself down, like locking myself down, or if somebody feels a little locked down and caught up in maybe their desires and their addictions and their cycles, I feel like it would be good to use this because, again, we talked about having that kind of emperor where sometimes it feels really oppressive, but coming at it with that justice, like working better together in those moments where it feels like maybe you're caught in something, maybe you need that extra stability. So maybe come to this deck when you need that extra kind of kick in the butt, you know what I mean? Especially when dealing with things like that come up with the devil. Like I said, addictions, damaging, self-destructive cycles, things like that. When those kind of things start coming up and we really need to pay attention and like look within ourselves and try to break these cycles because we're obviously playing into it, I think this is where we come. This is how we do it, which is very interesting, honestly, because I don't think I've ever really used this deck in that specific way. It's not one that I'd automatically think of when I'm going through cycles of, you know, self-destruction or things like that. I probably wouldn't reach for this. But now I feel like maybe it's time to play with that. Maybe it has a better space for that than I realized. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Another thing that's quite cool, I wish I could, like, I was gonna say maybe I'll take a picture and put it up there, but I'll just show you. Something that I never noticed, every character is looking dead at me. That's quite interesting. That now has me wondering. I just flung a bunch of cards. Nope, I can already say. I'm like, have I missed that? Are all the cards like front facing like that? They're not. Oh my god. 78 card pickup right now. Yeah, no, they're not. They're not. Yeah. I guess I was just like, wow, maybe I missed this, but no. all of these cards face on. That tells me a lot about confronting, things that I never really noticed about this deck. That this might be a very confronting deck. But having the Lord or the Emperor in that space of where do our energies differ right now, that makes a lot of sense. This might be the time to utilize this when you need those uncomfortable questions answered, or you need to be told something uncomfortable, right? You have to face this head on. There's no more hiding when utilizing this deck. That's quite interesting. It's like the more I looked at it, the more I'm like, wait a second. Everyone is looking dead on. But no. She's looking down. He's looking away. He's looking out. That's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. But you know, I feel like this has given me some really good insight and a new place to start, and like how to rethink about this deck. So, just as funsies, let's see if there's anything that jumps out to me. I'm not going to read over anything. I'm just going to literally look at it and see if there's anything that maybe jumps out to me. Nines. This guidebook is set up in numbers, not in suits. Okay. So the 9 of Pentacles, I like that. Pleasures and living your ideals. Just like that energy. Okay. Let's see if there's anything that... So nothing much there. Let's see where our... I never remember where anything is in this guidebook. There we go. We need the knights, or the princes, excuse me. I forget how much this deck like changes the names because I never, obviously I don't have them on there anymore, so I don't remember. So this is actually like the Prince of Wands. So passionate, eager, rebellious. I like the rebellious part too, because it does kind of feel like that, where our energies align, kind of skewing that. But we kind of talked about that as we went through. I'm kind of like coming to this at a totally different place, right? Having that rebellious nature. And it's so funny, if you guys watched Glitter and Gators when we talked to Steven this past month, we talked about his going rogue. And that's kind of where this knight energy brings me. It's like, that's kind of where this deck has the potential to go. To have that rebellious, going rogue kind of energy. That's quite interesting. Okay, let's find our Lord. See if anything pops out to me there. Structure, authority, leadership, protection, boundaries, accomplishment, order. Yeah, that kind of like order. That order and structure being quite different. I think he wants to hold this energy where I'm in a space that kind of, again, has that rebellious space. So it's like, I think it kind of holds the duality there. Hence the reason we're both in that red. That is a real thing that sparks me within this deck are the colors. It's something that it's like I remember how dynamic it was. Like one of the first times I laid out really big spreads with this, or, you know, did something where you could really see where these pops of color really make a huge difference. That's something that I really love about this deck and kind of forgot about. Honestly, how dynamic that can be and how it ties these cards sometimes. Very interesting. Very interesting. Anything else? Oh, interesting. In here it says the Lord combines the worldly power of a king, such as Arthur, with the power of nature of Sir Nunos. I hope I'm saying that right. Or Herne, the Lord of Animals. In traditional decks, he is known as the Emperor, yeah. Okay. And then Serranos, I don't know. Whatever this is. Oh, I love that. Awakening of responsibility. Again, though, when we're caught in these cycles, that awakening of responsibility, I really feel like that's a great little key phrase for this energy. Utilizing this as like when you know it's time to take responsibility for yourself, for your actions, for your troubles, for XYZ. Yeah. And it also talks about the potential for liberation, which I think is exciting as well. Again, when you're caught in these spaces, maybe turn to something like this in order to revitalize that, set yourself free. Really look at those things. This has got me so jazzed. I'm like, ooh, okay. So now I want to sit with this deck. I want to flip through it all over again. I want to look at each card. I want to lay them out. I want to see what it looks like. You know, as simple as like picking out my cards again, laying things out, seeing what it looks like. How does it play off of each other? Oh, okay. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Exactly what I'm talking about. Watch. I want to hold these as I bring in. Look at the green. Whoa, sorry. I'm so bad at showing the camera these frickin' cards. Look at all the green. And the red. And what's in between? Stripped down. Light greens. Everything else is so solid. Full robes. Color. Depth. And then boom, something completely different. This deck, again, if you haven't heard my rant about the chicken, let me find my chicken. I say rant, not really. It's not a rant. Ah, here we are. It's my love for this chicken. This deck has some interesting choices. This chicken, I love it. Are you in the fight? Or are you the chicken? Maybe you need to be the chicken. Maybe you need to not be the chicken anymore. The grass looks way greener where the boys are. This chicken is just pecking dirt at this point. There's so much to be gained. But I bring that up because I'm noticing some little things that maybe I didn't notice before. Again, I've never read through the big book. When I got the Druid Craft, I got this edition, which is the small one. Where'd my box go? I literally just had it. Oh, right here. So mine was in this box. Came with this little thing. But like, looking at this, I'm starting to notice some stuff. Like, what are they sitting in front of? There's like a latch there. Oh, shit, I almost pulled my earring out. Anyway, look at that. We have our eagle right here, a snake, all these pots. We have a face, we have the skull. What's back here? We have what looks like Stonehenge back here. We have markings. Our crone has got all kinds of tools that are hanging from her belt. There's ferns. Like, the depth of this, while I've utilized it so much and I've seen most of these things, it's like when you come at a deck that, again, has been utilized for years upon years upon years upon years, you lose sight of the newness. And so you ignore certain things, or you just never really like, oh, I forgot that was there. You know? Like the little bird. There's holly up here. There's a pig roasting back here. But he's got his foot. And there is a ram down here. You know, just like taking that, especially on a deck that, again, like this one, like I've used so much. It's like I almost just like, I see the image and I'm just like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Like I immediately understand the feeling. I've read with this. I know this deck. But to really stop and re-interview, take another look, take our blinders back off, because now we've gone on autopilot when we come to certain decks now. It's very true. The RWS is a perfect example. Everybody's just like, we've all seen it. We all know it's there. Yes, we do. But I don't know about you, but if you really sit, like every time I sit with the cards again, and like I really like, okay, take my autopilot off. Let me look at this again. Let me look at it with different eyes. Because the person that I am who got the deck years ago and utilized it through the years, I'm not that same person anymore. So I definitely think it's a very beneficial thing to kind of take time to stop and re-engage sometimes. When you feel like I've used this so long, I feel like I know it like the back of my hand. It's like, okay, well maybe that's when it's time to re-interview. Look at it again. What else are you missing? What else are you not seeing because you have your blinders on? What associations can you make now that you would have never been able to make then? I saw the colors and it spoke to me back then. But seeing them now, not only as color, but heavy or light or sheer fabrics, probably wouldn't have looked at that then. But now I'm feeling the weight of what these people have on, right? Is it heavy or is it light? Does it breathe and allow you to move? Or is it holding you, protecting you? Are you nude? And of course, this is beneficial in any way, shape, or form, I guess, when looking at decks and trying to kind of re-interview, re-engage, refresh that energy. But it's like, I never stopped and really made associations with the colors or fabrics before, but looking at them with fresh eyes and again, just as simple as spreading the cards out and just like looking how they interact with each other. So like in this one, I'm seeing blue. Look at this. Blue. 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 At the bottom, red. Blue feels very airy to me. We have the Magician, but we have the blue on the wings. We have this blue in the sky, but also on the shield, something that you would use. Granted, this is a stalled knight. Obviously, we're in the Knight of Pentacles. He's not moving. But you can use this to not only shield yourself, but as a push of pushing that air forward, you know, like blocking. It's like when I think of him riding, if he rides like this, he's going to block that air. It's going to stop him. But if he puts that to the side, then the air can pass. He can go quicker, right? This shield can move that air, right? And then, of course, we have literal air. We have our queen. But look how the air has tattered her clothing. She has withstood many, many, many years. We have her gray hair. We have the tattered robe and tattered dress. She has withstood the storm and the air and the wind for quite a while. Smart, and she knows how to play the game, you know? And then we have them right there. And on the backpack, on his little bag, I mean. He's got his head on his hand. Again, it brings that idea of thought, movement, kind of embodies that kind of air in each way, shape, or form. And then we actually have a feather here. So again, this has nothing really to do with the card itself sometimes, but just like concepts. Re-engaging, you know? I never really thought about it like that before. Because again, when I started, I was looking for that groundedness, that connection to nature. I was looking for something completely different. You know, I was looking for that nature connection. I was looking to feel one, right? Especially with the Druid Craft. It felt real and raw, stripped back, like touch grass kind of vibe. But coming at it in this way, something a little bit different, like I'm feeling something different for this deck now, which is interesting. I'm kind of allowing that instead of, like I said, having it on autopilot where you're not really engaging with the deck anymore. You're just kind of going off of instinct. Now, I'm saying this from like a personal practice standpoint. I find I'm always surprised and always intrigued by what I see and what I notice when doing like actual readings. Like, I say like actual readings, like readings for someone else. When I'm like in the process of doing a reading. I'm always amazed at what I might notice or what might link things together. But again, we're reading in that moment. We're searching through this energy. We're finding things that we won't normally find. But I've talked about it before. I do feel like very often, reading amnesia is very real. I'm here. I'm tuned in. I'm in this almost like trance-like moment. We're connected. I'm reading. I'm reading these cards, right? I'm putting them on the table. I'm following their energy. I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm seeing, connecting, and putting things and utilizing them in very specific ways. But when I'm reading for myself, when I'm bonding with a deck, or when I'm just using a deck and just like kind of having fun, it's like I don't stop and think about these things. I'm on autopilot. I'm going to pull these. Oh, that's this. Okay. You know? But sitting with it and re-engaging of like, let me think about this deck in a different way. It's been a long time. We need to refresh our relationship. This, I think, would be a really good place to start. I'm curious to see if you like it. Would there be questions that you would add? Let's make it better. Do you have questions that you would add to this interview spread? Put them in the comments down below. Is there something else that you like to do when you re-engage with your deck? I often set mine back in order when I am kind of resetting the energy. I will set it back in order. and kind of flip through again. But I really do think that re-interviewing a deck brings a lot of interesting stuff to light. And then you can kind of explore from there. I mean, automatically, I was like, I want to do this. I want to do this. Like, it got me really excited. And honestly, there might be times, and I've had that happen, when I will like reset and go through again. As much as I loved utilizing a deck, as much as I loved working with it, sometimes I'll pull it back out and I go to, you know, reset and refresh the energy and kind of relook at this, you know, a deck. It doesn't always work like that. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, I think I'm done. Like, this no longer excites me. This no longer feels like an energy that I need. Or maybe my time is done. Or maybe I put it away for a later time. It just feels like a not right now. So I think there's a lot to say and a lot to go through when it comes to stuff like that. Again, I'm like obsessed with the idea of this clothing and how it's like kind of coming out, where it's like he's got like all these clothes on, armor and stuff. Less and less, he needs to be stealthy, he needs to take some of that armor off, be more fluid, and then it's like, boom, almost naked. A lot of things to say as far as that goes. Noticing if things are tattered, finding all the little hidden animals, greenery, or the absence of it. So interesting. Anyway, I think I'm going to continue to play with this, honestly, and kind of see where it takes me. Maybe do a little bit of reading, journaling. Gonna put this in my grimoire. But like I said, if you have things you would add, things that you would do, put them down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So anyway, Jaylee, thank you so much for suggesting this and for asking about this. This was a really, really fun exercise, and I would love to hear what everybody thinks and how they utilize this, if they use it, if they have something completely different. If you want to add, I want to know all the things. I love to hear about people's practices and how they do what they do. So let me know down below. Yeah, and we will be back very soon. I'm sending you all my love. Mwah. Later, Gators.